Motion is adopted.
Does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Department heads, Police Chief John Zolgis.
Thank you, Mayor. I did send out a report for November to everybody. It was a little bit late, didn't come out till earlier this afternoon. The only other thing I would like to bring up is the legislation for tonight to make cash, which now everyone has met, a full-time K-9 for the department. The K-9 this past year has been very valuable to the department. Paul gave me his yearly report, which you guys will be getting probably in the next 2 weeks or so, but just some brief highlights. See, 2018, there was 42 vehicle sniffs and 9 felony seizures. In 2019, there was 56 total K-9 sniffs with 22 felony seizures. So that went up. And just some other notables, why the K-9 program is important to us. We utilize him a lot, as much as we can. Paul loves to work the dog. Just throughout the year, K-9 Pseudo attempted to track a suspect who fled a traffic stop with a firearm in Maple Heights. Paul, did they ever catch that? No? Okay. He assisted in the search and the location of a suspect who fled into a residence in Bedford. So that was a big help to them. K-9 Pseudo also responsible for locating a missing child in Broadview Heights, which was good. He assisted in locating a missing adult in Macedonia. K-9 Pseudo was recognized by Sheriff Steve Berry of Summit County for participating in a search party to find a missing child in Green Township. I believe he was autistic. Yeah, he was an autistic child, which they ended up finding him. K-9 Pseudo located a handgun underwater in a stream approximately 5 hours after it had been used in a homicide in Maple Heights, and that was just that recent one at the laundromat where they shot and killed that veteran. He assisted in evidence location following a break-in. So he does get a lot of use. He's used by other communities. With the marijuana laws that have changed, Paul was able to get another pup about 18 months ago. So he's been training them. And just last week he told me that I guess you could say he's ahead of training Paul. You can come in here, Paul. And he was able to take his state certifications, and he passed them, flying colors. So Paul wants to start getting him working, as soon as he can. The rest of this month, he'll kind of just work him, basically practicing, and then the first of the year to really hit when he's out on the street. So we know it's kind of in a hurry, so we would hope to suspend the 3 reading rule tonight if you would, so he can get to work.
What is council's pleasure on that?
I'd like to suspend the 3 readings.
Second.
It's 2019-86, an emergency resolution confirming the Mayor Director of Public Safety's appointment of the Cash von Kanan Vic. Close enough? Is that good enough? Okay, or otherwise known as Cash, as a village police dog on first reading. Motion by Ms. Nowak to suspend the 3 reading rule, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. And all in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed?
Motion for passage?
Motion to pass by Ms. Nowak, seconded by Mr. Hips. Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted, Mayor.
We just have just a quick oath of office here. We tried last time to get Pseudo to bark at the end, but he wouldn't do it, so we'll see if Cash does it. So I'm not going to make him raise his right paw either. So.
We're going to put the muddy paw on the
Yeah. Cash, ready? Okay. K-9 Cash does solemnly swear that he will support the Constitution and statutes of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio, and the charter and ordinances of the village of Northfield, Summit County, Ohio, and that he will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge his duties as a full-time K-9 officer for the village of Northfield during his continuance in said position according to the best of his ability and understanding. Okay, I guess that'll be it. All right, Paul. Thank you. Did you get a quick one, Julie?
Yes, we'll try.
Since it's still too long.
All right, that's good.
Thank you. All right, thanks.
said that other dog smelled the gone under the water.
Yeah.
That disc dog smelled the
No,
gone.
these are other ones.
Pseudo did.
Yeah.
He smells it.
Your microphone, please.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Paul, can you explain how he tracked the firearm?
Early morning, earlier this month, we were called out by Maple Heights detectives. Indicated they had a shooting at the laundromat where somebody was killed. It had been raining all night. They located the subject about 5 hours after the incident. Asked us to come out and see if we could help recover the murder weapon. We went out and tracked in the woods for about an hour, and Pseudo pulled me down into a stream. And we were going along, and he just dead stopped, turned towards the bank, started digging in the water, and sure enough, there was a firearm.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
Also, just so everyone knows that Cash is certified in felony narcotics. Okay, he's not certified in the marijuana, and that was the big reason why, with the marijuana laws changing, that it was just best to basically get another dog that was trained in the narcotics only.
You're talking heroin.
Right. So he won't be able to detect marijuana. So, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, the fire chief will be at our next regular scheduled council meeting. Service and building superintendent will be at our next regular scheduled council meeting. Reports of municipal boards and commissions. Mr. Hips of Planning Commission.
Planning Commission will meet January 15th at 7:30 to discuss the variances for Dollar General. This is the review of their final submission of plans. That concludes my report.
Thank
Just
you.
to add, I think the notices to the adjacent property owners, I think, went out today for the meeting, so we're okay on that. What time? 7:30.
Okay, moving on to Recreation Board. Last meeting, I believe we said we were canceling the January meeting and going with the first meeting of February, which is the first week in February, so February 5th at 6:30 here at Town Hall. Moving on to reports of the standing committees, Mr. Magistrelli of Finance,
No reports.
Mrs. Tomzalski of Roads and Public Works,
No report this evening, Mayor.
Health and Welfare. Does anyone on that committee have anything? Hearing none, moving on. Wages and Working Conditions, Mr. Whitefish is absent. Does anyone have anything for that committee? Hearing none, moving on. Fire and Safety, Ms. Noack.
The only thing that I have is, the chief and I are gonna be getting together on January 4th to look over the preliminary for the budget for the police department, and then I will get with, our committee group and go over it at that time. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Hips.
No report.
Moving on to legislation, Mr. Bryan.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2019-77, an emergency resolution setting forth the rates of pay for full-time members of the fire department for 2020 on second reading.
I'd like to suspend the reading.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Noack, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli to suspend the three reading rule. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed?
Motion for passage?
Second?
Motion to pass by Ms. Noack, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of passage?
Yes.
All opposed? Okay. The resolution's adopted. Next is 2019-78, an emergency resolution setting forth the rates of pay for part-time members of the fire department for 2020, also on second reading.
I'd like to suspend the three reading rule.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Tomzalski, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli to suspend the three reading rule. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? Is there a motion to pass?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Tomzalski, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli to pass the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? That resolution is adopted. Next, we have 2019-79, an emergency resolution setting forth the rates of pay for certain employees for 2020, also on second reading.
I'd like to suspend the three reading.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Noack, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli to suspend the three reading rule. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? Is there a motion to pass?
Motion to pass?
Second?
Motion by Ms. Noack, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli to pass. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? Resolution is adopted. Next, we have 2019-83, an emergency resolution to make temporary appropriations for current expenses and expenditures for the village for the period from January 1st, 2020 through March 31st, 2020 on first reading.
I'd like to suspend the three reading.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Noack, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli to suspend the three reading rule. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed?
Motion for passage?
Motion to pass by Ms. Noack, seconded by Ms. Domzalski. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of passage?
Yes.
All opposed? Resolution's adopted. And we have 2019-84, an emergency ordinance to approve the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances, to approve, adopt, enact, and publish new matter in the updated and revised codified ordinances, and to repeal the ordinances and resolutions in conflict therewith. This is just the annual code update incorporating all the new ordinances that were passed in 2018. We're a little behind in the year. And also all the state code amendments by the legislature changing mostly the traffic and criminal offenses. So is there a motion to suspend the three reading rule?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Ms. Domzalski. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? Is there a motion to pass?
Motion to pass?
Second?
Motion by Ms. Noack, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. Any discussion? All in favor of passage?
Yes.
All opposed? The ordinance is adopted. And next we have 2019-85, an emergency resolution amending the limits of established open blanket purchase orders on first reading.
I'd like to suspend the three reading rule.
Motion by Ms. Domzalski to suspend the three reading rules. Is there a
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? Is there a motion to pass?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Domzalski, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli to pass. Any discussion?
Excuse me,
Yes.
what is open blanket on purchase orders for what?
It's certain common expenditures. I think gas is probably the most notable, and maybe Ms. Potvick can explain that.
Utilities, expenditures for the cars, just expedites the process.
It sets a limit on what can be spent in the year, but they can purchase those items without coming to council or the mayor to sign off on them ahead of time. Anyone else? All in favor of passage?
Yes.
All opposed? Okay, the resolution is adopted, and that is it for the legislation, Mayor.
At this time, is there any old business, new business, or announcements?
Yes, I thank Mrs. Parkin for having the temporary appropriations done. It's quite a feat, and in a short time, you've completely taken that position and have it under control. So I just want to thank you for getting it done early. You know, we're not at the 12th hour. Merry Christmas.
Does anyone else have anything? Okay, no executive session is needed. Do I hear an adjournment?
I'd like to make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Domzalski to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Scherer. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? We are adjourned at 7:47.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.